the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
But I don't know. There's something about that home atmosphere.
Wow, I didn't see this coming.
Yeah,
Did not see this coming.
We're off to a hot start, sir. We're just getting started.
Colorado at Oregon, is that where we're going next?
That is where we're going next. Were you shocked by this spread?
No.
Oregon's at home, 20.5-point favorite in this one. Like, I know Travis Hunter is out. Like, I know this team Colorado just went to overtime with Colorado State. Like, this isn't a great team by any means. It's a great story. Like, and they are a very good team. We don't know if they're a great team yet. I don't think they're a great team. But what do they have? Like 12 turnovers, 10 turnovers. I think they've forced in the first 3 games. That's not always sustainable. But if you are doing that, that's changing games. So Oregon's a team. They may have yet to turn the ball over, I think, on the season. But how do you see this?
No, they have not turned the ball over to this point.
So someone's got to give there, but it's all going to be on Shedeur Sanders, and that's just a lot to ask. So I don't think they're going to win by 3 touchdowns, because I don't think Oregon can really stop this offense enough to win by 3 touchdowns. But I think I could see it being a 41-30 type of game, and Oregon kind of wins by multiple scores, but not by 3 touchdowns.
Interesting. You said it comes down to Shedeur. I don't think so. I think Shedeur's going to be fine. It's not a Shedeur issue. It's a complete talent issue. That this Colorado defense stinks. And it took a 98-yard drive from their 2 in crunch time for Colorado to survive at home against a bad Colorado State team that I understand they got up for it. It turned into a humongous rivalry game. We all watched it. 9.3 million people watched it. They're ahead of schedule. Colorado's 3-0. Travis Hunter, their best player, is not going to be available this week and the next week, which really sucks, especially when you get USC the following week. But I don't think they're winning either of these games with or without Travis Hunter. Shedeur Sanders is absolutely a great player, one of the 5 best quarterbacks in this country. This is where, like, the Heisman stuff, when people are like, he's in the Heisman, it's like, no, because this is still a 7-5 team. Like, this is now, I thought they were going to be on a march to 6 this year before the season, and I thought they could maybe get 6-6, and that's a huge win. Now you're looking at like 7-5, 8-4 is probably the win. It's kind of like where Tennessee was their first year with.
Hey, don't you put a ceiling on them, sir? You don't even know. We don't even know where this team could go.
Well, the problem is the reason I'm putting a ceiling, and I'm not even going to put one. The Pac-12 is the best conference in college football right now. That's a problem. Like, Colorado's, like, if you're playing the Big 12 or you're playing the ACC, like, is Colorado the best ACC team? Maybe, I don't know. Fully healthy, like, could they give Florida State and Clemson a run for their money? Yes, I think so.
Well, not even the ACC. They're going to be in the Big 12 this year or next year, and they might be the best team in the Big 12
next year. Yeah, not this year. I don't think they can touch Texas, but we'll save that for another conversation. But what I'm saying is, ultimately, look, Bo Nix is actually the big key here. He has not been on the Heisman radar. Like, he's getting all the billboards. You see those on Twitter everywhere. Like, he's all over the place. He's got good NIL marketing to this point. He didn't have to stay. He came back. Oregon's really good. They've drubbed some bad teams to this point, but this is the Bo Nix Heisman game where all the hype, all the eyeballs are going to be on Oregon and Colorado this weekend, because everybody's eyeballs are on Colorado apparently until things go right. That's why I think this is such a huge moment for Bo Nix. And I think this is such a great situation for him, because Colorado's pass defense is atrocious. Bo Nix should eat this group alive. Shedeur's going to have some problems. Oregon's 16th in passing defense to this point. He hasn't played, like, Nebraska gave him problems. Nebraska, if they had a semi-competent offense, they're in that game until the end and they don't fold in the second half. Nebraska has got one of the top 5 defenses in the country to this point. They're aggressive. They gave Colorado a lot of problems on the road. What I'm saying, I think Oregon is just a complete team. I think they're one of the 10 best teams in the country. I think the absence of Travis Hunter is going to make things really, really difficult for Shedeur Sanders to do a whole lot, and it's going to take a lot of heroics, and the heroics that you can do against Colorado State, I don't think you're going to be able to do on the road in a hostile environment at Oregon. This is an interesting game for a multitude of reasons, but like you mentioned, Oregon hasn't turned the ball over yet. Like, Nebraska beat themselves in that game against Colorado early on, and this is not going to be an Oregon team that beats themselves. Like, it's going to take a flawless game from Colorado just to cover. I think. Colorado State quarterback last week, Braden Fowler and Nicolosi, he threw for like nearly 400 yards on this pass defense. Like, now we're talking about Bo Nix here. They're 6th in long scrimmage plays this year. 6th. Colorado's also 4th in turnover margin, so something they've utilized really well through 3 weeks. I don't think it's going to be a factor here because Oregon's a sound football team that's not going to turn the ball over and not going to give Colorado those opportunities. All of this smells to me why the line is 20.5 and why folks might be surprised by that. I'm not. I think Colorado is a good team. They're a top 25 team, but they're not where Oregon, Washington, Utah, and USC are at the present time. So I just think it's going to be one of those things where you just get blasted a couple times. You won a lot early on. You're going to a bowl game. That's great. But I don't think this game's actually close. And I'm interested to see how it goes on national television. And if it's like 42-17 Oregon in the early fourth quarter, what does it look like? I'm excited to see what this Colorado team looks like when they are faced with adversity. And kind of what I spoke to is like, it's not that I'm rooting for it. It's just they're not going 12-0. So I want to see what happens when they are
think
faced
you're rooting for it.
No, I love watching them play. Shador is a dude. I want Shador on the Falcons next year. What I am saying is like they are going to face adversity. I want to see what this looks like when they face adversity. Do they come together? Do they bounce back? Do they get through this tough time without Travis Hunter? I'm just curious what all this looks like because it's easy to celebrate and have all this fun when you're winning football games. But if you go and you get outscored by a combined 100 points from USC and Oregon in back-to-back weeks, like it just changes a lot. So I'm curious, as someone who just watched this team go down to the swamp and get just smacked by an inferior opponent, it changes the vibe. Losing changes vibes very, very quickly. So I'm just very curious what it ultimately looks like, but I'm going to take Oregon. Give me Oregon 49, Colorado 20 here.
Okay. Yeah. And, I think Oregon's just a bad matchup for Colorado at the end of the day. Like, I think USC, especially at home, is like a much better matchup. Yes. Like, Caleb Williams is obviously a superstar, but
except they're playing that game at 9 a.m.
Offense versus offense. Like, no defense is going to be played. Like, TCU and Colorado State had 500 yards of offense against this Colorado defense. So it's going to be tough. Yeah, I think, what did I say? I don't know. I think 45-28, something like that. So I think it's a easy win, but I think Colorado.